Today's devotion is titled A Simple Touch or a Single Word. And we are on day 235. And we're on August the 23rd if you're following along on the calendar. And today's morning rinse is Matthew 7 through 9. And the featured verses include Matthew 8, 15, and 16. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she got up and waited on him. When evening came, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed, and he cast out all the spirits with a word and healed all who were ill. A slumber party consisted of 6 tween girls celebrating a birthday. Right before snuggling into their sleeping bags for the night, they sat in a circle to play one last game, the whispering game. It is very simple to play, and I'm sure that you guys have all heard about this. The first girl in the circle will whisper a short story or a phrase or something in the ear of the girl sitting next to her. And then that girl whispers what she heard to the next girl in the circle until the story makes its way all the way around to all the participants. And then when the last girl gets that message, she shares what she heard to the others in the group. And then the laughter ignites the whole room after they realize how dramatically different that what she said was from the original story. So exaggeration is at its finest around that circle. But unlike the whispering game, Jesus does not need exaggeration when performing miracles or when he is telling stories. This truth can go against, really our carnal thought process when we read stories in the Bible. We, as humans, we like dramatization, and we sometimes actually enjoy creating dramatization. This could be from, seeing in the arts, or even if we like drama in people's lives, we create that dramatization when we share stories. And from the perception of an actress, it's easy for me to develop dramatic scenes in my mind when I read stories of, Jesus healing someone or casting out demons or whatever the stories are. I can see it actually happening in my mind's eye, and I can picture the crowds around him, and I can hear the whispers among the people, and I can see it all coming to life. And I can feel the energy as they rise on their toes and peer out over their shoulders and hope to be the first person to witness his next miracle so they can pass on what they've observed and whisper to the next person, or however they shared stories. Maybe their carnal minds, like mine, anticipate something really big and even exaggerate the story a bit and want a lot of dramatization when it comes to watching these stories come to life and watching Jesus perform these miracles. But when it comes to Jesus, exaggerations are not what changes lives. It is the simple touch and a single word. In today's featured verses, he touches the lady's hand and she is healed. And then he cast out the spirits with one single word. No exaggeration was needed, just a touch and a word. Some people say that word was go. I don't know for sure. Sometimes it's documented, sometimes it may not be. I don't know. But in this story, we don't know what that single simple word is. But later in this same chapter, he casts out a legion of demons into a herd of swine with that simple word go. And that was in chapter 8, verse 32. He may have said that to, this first example I don't know. I'm guessing it's a very simple word similar to that. You know, he used frequently when casting out demons, with simple words. Another example of this simple touch of healing is when he touches the leper in chapter 8, verse 3, or when he simply touches the blind man in chapter 9, verse 29. Both times, he healed them with a simple touch. And of course, we must remember the story of the bleeding woman who only needed to touch the fringe of Jesus's cloak to receive healing. And that was in chapter 9, verse 20. A simple touch and a single word are all we need. We do not need the exaggeration or the dramatization or big, huge things coming into our lives that cause this big, huge scene of what Jesus is doing and almost this parade of, things that are happening. A simple touch and a single word is all we need to be changed forever. No drama and certainly no exaggerations. I'm going to read the featured verses again to you. He touched her hand, and the fever left her. And she got up, and she waited on him. And when evening came, they brought to him many who were demon-possessed. And he cast out the spirits with a word, and healed all who were ill. A simple touch and a single word are all we need. And all those people around us that need Jesus, that's all they need too. A simple touch and a single word. So today's challenge to dig deeper is, do you need a simple touch or a single word for something that has happened or something that you're going through in your life? I want you to close your eyes and have your mind's eye picture Jesus in his simplicity. No drama, no exaggerations, just in his simplicity. Just picture him looking down at you, loving you. Enjoy the simplicity of a simple touch or a single word. His simple moments can bring the biggest change in your life. When you are pulling out your journal and you are reflecting tonight, what simple things did you experience today? Was it just a simple conversation? Was it a simple nugget from the Word of God? Was it something simple that, you got a phone call maybe today, or a text message that simply revolutionized your life? What simple thing did you experience today? And I want you to write it down, because oftentimes we look at the Christian faith and we think that it's all encompassing all these big moments or these prophetic voices or these, we speak in tongues and get slain in the spirit, or, have a word over us. And, the pastor points us out from the whole entire congregation and has us stand up and speaks right to us. I mean, these are big moments that, some people have experienced. And sometimes we bank so heavily on those specific moments, those Christ-centered moments, that we forget about how simple those moments that Jesus has can also be impactful. And while there was a lot going on in both of these scenarios, I am sure that Jesus had a huge amount of peace and calmness and even simplicity in his movements and in his reaction, his smile. Whatever that may have looked like in those scenes, it was just one single word and a simple touch. I look forward to hearing some of the things that you are going to experience today with this. And as you continue to grow in your faith, I hope that these podcast episodes encourage you and that you continue to, keep growing in your faith. And as we're walking through the book of Matthew, I can't wait for tomorrow and just continually hearing stories about how you guys have grown. And as always, the link is in the show notes down below or in the comments if you're watching YouTube. And be sure and get a book for a loved one. And be sure and if you don't have the companion journal and you're waiting until next year or whatever, the 1st of January to get one, don't wait. Just go ahead and get it. You never know what you might need to document. And so encourage and be sure and share this with others and, especially those who need a little bit of encouragement and you think that it's a good thing for them. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And until then, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.